my name is Sam, and thanks for checking out this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification, and give the video a thumbs up if you get to the end and enjoyed it. So if you've ever watched my channel or interacted with me on social media, you'll probably not be surprised when I tell you that January got a little out of hand. Oof, a little out of hand, to say the least, when it comes to book hauls. Now, in my defense, some of these were gifts. They were like Christmas gifts that came. A good chunk of them were free because I did go to a conference, and then the rest were just, there were a lot of books coming out or sales and I wanted them. Let's be real. I'm 26 and have jobs and no kids, so that's what I spend my money on. That and dogs and coffee, but mostly the dogs and books. But yeah, so because of how many there are, there's well over 50. I'm going to split them up. So this is going to be part one, and then, I don't know, in a couple days or a week, you'll see me looking the same and telling you about the other half of the books. So let's just get started. I'm going to go through the first like half-ish, and then, yeah, we'll see. Oh, also, I was originally being like, oh, well, technically I picked this up at my conference, but on February 1st, so it counts as February. And same with Book Outlet. Technically, I received the Book Outlet order in January, but I wasn't home to actually open it until a February date. But then I realized that I would then have to just let this massive pile of books, a good chunk of them, just sit there. The librarian in me, however, just wants to put everything away and try and figure out how the heck I'm going to fit all these books on my shelves now. So I'm just going to, you know, combine them, and then whatever I get in February after this will go in the February haul. So let's get started. First off, I picked up an arc of An Affair of Poisons by Addie Thorley. This follows, I mean, the blurb kind of says no one looks kindly on the killer of the king, but this girl, Mirabelle, I believe it is, she is forced to deal with the fact that her mother is part of a murderous society after her mother's society kills King Louis the 14th. I also grabbed an arc of Dealing in Dreams by Lilian Rivera. I haven't read the other book the author has, The Education of Margot Sanchez, but I do remember the cover. But it follows a gang, essentially, of all-female girls in Mega City, and they just essentially like have these violent throwdowns to try and keep their status in the city. The cover looks like deceptive, almost, like because of the flowers, so I'm very curious to see what this book is actually going to be like. I was just really happy I picked up the last arc of it, and it's just, swoop, yes. Then I picked up Eve of Man by Giovanna and Tom Fletcher. I believe this book is actually out in the UK, but the first girl born in 50 years, they call her Eve, and it's the start of a new trilogy, perfect for fans of The Handmaid's Tale, Black Mirror, and Orphan Black. So all of those like things are very like binge. Everyone I know that enjoys them binges the heck out of them. So I'm really curious. It's supposed to be a savior, and like the Eve part of it, I'm very curious to see how that's gonna turn out. And I haven't read a really good like dystopian-y or sci-fi, like a really new fresh one, I think, in quite a while. So I'm really curious to see this, how this one goes, and this one comes out in June. Oh, I should say when the other books come out. Sorry, that's my bad. Dealing in Dreams comes out in March 2019, and An Affair of Poisons comes out in February, I believe. February 26th. I saw this arc and just decided to grab it because it sounded kind of cool, and then I saw that my friend wanted to read it, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to read it then and tell her if it's good. Stronger Than a Bronze Dragon by Mary Fan. Cover is just so cool. I love the background. It'd be really cool if they lift part of the either the text or the dragon for the finished copy. Yeah. All I know is she's like a warrior, shadows of her like community, and it's being destroyed by mechanical dragons, yes. And so she's trying to protect the village, and then she's given the opportunity to do so, but she has to give her hand in marriage to someone. So, I don't know, it just sounded really cool. And it comes out, oh, it's the American thing, I think, '06. I can't imagine they'd be giving arcs out for November, so, so June 11th. 2019. I also got The Long Flight Home by Alan Halad. This is another World War II, women pilots, all that sort of historical fiction fun stuff, and this is an adult, and it comes out on June 25th. I also picked up Mistress of the Ritz by Melanie Benjamin. I haven't read the author's other work, The Aviator's Wife, but I remember that book coming out. So just another World War II women kicking butt, and doing just a bunch of cool stuff as spies and such during the World War. And this comes out May 21st. I actually almost bought this book and then I got an arc of it. like the day after I almost bought it. So very happy. The Lost Girls of Paris by Pam Jinnah. I haven't read The Orphan's Tale. That's the author's other work. I do vividly remember it, and actually I don't know if I own it or once owned it. I don't know. It is a book still on my radar though. Do really want to get to it. It does come out on February 5th, so today that I'm posting this video. So it comes out today. I'm just so curious about this. It sounds really cool. I like the cover too, but it's like this woman after the World War in, I think, New York City, and she's at a train station or bus station and finds this unattended suitcase and opens it, which don't do that. But she opens it and finds all these photos, and through all this investigation, she finds out all these women, none of them have been seen since the war, and they were all spies. So she wants to like go and find out what happened to them. So I'm really curious about that. That sounds like it could be a good read. Really hoping the sun isn't like immensely glaring off of my glasses, but I'm sorry. I'm too lazy right now to put contacts on. I also picked up an arc of The Huntress by Kate Quinn. She's the author of The Alice Network, which I have read. I'm really curious about this because it's about someone who I remember hearing vaguely about in history class. And this woman, she was kind of just nicknamed The Huntress, that she lived in kind of a rural area, and people, like this story is a POW soldier and this woman stumble after they've escaped from a POW camp to her, and try and use her for shelter and safety. I remember also hearing that she also like welcomed Jewish runaway children to her house and like fed them and then killed them. And like she doesn't seem to have any like allegiance though. So this follows this soldier escapes from a POW camp with this woman. The man is killed and the woman gets away though. And then in a couple years or months or whenever, the huntress, the woman who does this killing, has gone underground, and everyone's trying to find this woman that did get away because she's the only one who could identify her, and they want to find her. It sounds like it could be a sweet spot for me. I also don't know the official date. All I see is February 2019, so this could be coming out any time this month. I talked my way into getting the last arc that the publisher had for Enchanté by Jinnah Trelease. I am so torn about this book. I wanted to pre-order it because this used to be the cover. And then they put like a silhouette of a person's head on in the background, and I really just don't like it now. And then I saw the UK cover, which it's a paperback, which annoys me. I wish it was a hardcover, but the UK cover is beautiful. So I was like, maybe I'll order that. So I'm going to read this though. I think and it follows our main character who is trying to get her family like to survive, I think, like they're poor, and then her brother, I think, runs away with all of their very little earnings, so then she tries to like turn and like make a focus for the king. I'm not totally sure beyond that. I remember reading it a while ago, but it's gone from my brain now. Love Magic Revolution, and I really hope I like it because then I can be like, okay, the cover, it's not terrible, but it's just not, I don't like it anymore. So if I read the book, then maybe I can deal with the cover. And thank you to the publishers of Simon & Schuster. They had Nikki Pau-Preto at their booth on Friday at the conference, giving away free finished copies of this book. It doesn't come out actually, I think, until February 12th, I believe. So not this Tuesday, next Tuesday. But I was there, so I got it, and I got it signed, which is always awesome because authors don't come anywhere near me geographically. So it was cool to get that. And I'm so curious about this. I am daughter of death, from the ashes I rose, like a phoenix from the pyre. And there's like, it's like phoenix battle dueling stuff. And I'm just so here for it. She's also a Canadian author, which is awesome. And I'm just so excited. Also, she posted on her Instagram that she was at the OLA conference and took a picture of herself signing. That book that she's signing is me, and you can see my my chest, the Harry Potter t-shirt, like in the corner cut off with my beanie and my purple hair ends. I was so excited when I saw that. I managed to grab also the last art copy of The Lost Coast by Amy Rose Cappetta. I went to the conference expecting to see the Once and Future arcs, which she is dual author on. I'm surprised because they did a bunch of promo at ALA, but they didn't do any promo at OLA, which is our largest conference in the country. So that was a little disappointing. But I like this cover, actually, like the fonting and the tie-dyeing, and the spellbinding tale of 6 queer witches forging their paths, shrouding in the mist, magic, and secrets of the ancient California redwoods. I'm very excited for it. It's not big either, but it's not too so. I feel like this could be like a good, solid, like one-day read, and it just says May, so sometime in May. This is literally the first arc I saw at my conference, and I literally kind of pushed them out of the way to grab it. But White Rose by Kit Wilson, not Milson, Wilson, comes out in April. February 18th, 1943, Gestapo headquarters. The car screeches to a halt. Officers pull us out by the arms, haul us inside, and off to separate rooms. I take a deep breath and prepare for the fight of our lives. Sophie Scholl, a German university student and former member of the Nazi League for German Girls, is about to face sentencing for a crime punishable by death, distributing pamphlets that speak out against Hitler. I actually have gotten to visit the memorial for Sophie and her brother Hans, I believe it is. Yes, and I think there was a couple years ago a film done on these two. They don't get a lot of promo, but they literally, in like downtown central Berlin basically, went and took a printing press, illegally printed all this stuff saying like this is what they're doing in the concentration camps, and like literally threw them up in the middle of like the quad in their busy like university during like rush hour, and got caught and were put to death, unfortunately. But there's this really interesting like sort of like tall, like maybe up to this tall as that's it. It's not super big, but kind of in I think where the university used to be, and it's just like a memory to them for rebelling in a position where they were privileged. And I'm just insanely excited about this. I believe it's supposed to be middle grade. Comes out April 2nd. I'm gonna honestly try and read this in February. I'm so insanely excited about this book. This book definitely comes out today, I believe. Blood Witch by Susan Dennard. I grabbed an arc of that at the conference. I'm rereading the series right now. I finished Truth Witch and I'm reading what's the next one? Blood? No, Blood. This is Blood Witch. Wind Witch. Wind Witch in February, hopefully, or March. But, and then I will get on to Sight Witch in this one. I'm really curious about this. I don't hate the cover as much in person as I did online. I think it just, I don't know. We know how I feel about covers with people on them. At least it's not like a photography one, but, yeah, I'm very curious about that. It's the continuation of the Truth Witch. I am very curious because the Blood Witch character is like probably the one that I've been like most curious and interested to figure out what the heck's going on in. I also picked up The Ventriloquist by E.R. Ramzapur. This comes out August 27th, so I got some time. It's a World War II In This Triumph debut inspired by true events. A ragtag gang of journalists and resistant fighters risk everything for an elaborate scheme to undermine the Reich. Brussels, 1943. 12-year-old street orphan Helene survives by living as a boy, selling copies of the country's most popular newspaper, Le Soir, now turned into Nazi propaganda. So they gonna mess with that. I'm so excited about that. This entire concept is like basically what I didn't do a thesis in university, but literally when you get to pick research papers, you pick a topic. I continuously picked propaganda and how the news media is used in like Russia and Germany during the wars and after the wars and before the wars, and even looking at Canada and like how they sell things differently before and after wars. This is my wheelhouse. I'm so excited about this. So excited. Then I grabbed an arc of Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. This is the first, and I'm 99% sure it's a 3-book series. Let Them Fear Her. I have heard nothing but amazing, amazing things from people who have gotten arcs. Quite a few people who have gotten arcs. Comes out in April. I believe she's going to be in the TBR and Beyond group in April or May. I'd have to double check. Just join the group either way. Something dark and holy has found its way into the hearts of everyone. I'm just, I've noticed a lot of the books I'm getting keep blurbing Rosamund Hodge and Margaret Rogerson as well, like every book. But I'm so curious to see what the finished copy of this is going to look like, if they're going to lift anything, because like they even foiled parts of the arc on it. So, and I know it's supposed to be inspired by a video game, which even more I was like, oh! And actually, I even like the inside. They put a lot more effort into the arc than some I've seen, and I'm just, like, even just the types that they use for, I'm just so excited about this book. It's supposed to be like a historical fiction fantasy, and I'm just excited for it. You need to read it. You just need to read it. I also picked up The Binding by Brigid Collins. I'm pretty sure this book is actually out in the UK now. I saw a bunch of people have, like, really pretty special editions with, like, purple painted edges and all that stuff, but it's supposed to come out in April in Canada. Anyways, in the tradition of Sarah Waters, Helene Wecker, and Jessie Burton, an atmospheric, mystery-laden historical novel set within a magical world where books are not stories, but the repository for individuals' lives. So, I'm really curious about this. I remember, like, just hearing about this a couple months ago, being like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I'll keep an eye out for that. And bam, got an arc. So excited. I I also received from my brother, if he watches these, thank you very much, for Christmas, a late Christmas gift, the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them Illustrated Edition. I don't have any of the Hogwarts Libraries illustrated yet, so he grabbed this for me, which thank you very much, brother. On Book Outlet this month, I picked up Dive Smack by Dimitra Brodsky. I only heard about this book like the day it came out, but the things I have heard from the people who reviewed it are very, very positive. Theo Macney only remembers one thing for certain about the fire that burned his life down. He lit the match. Sure, it was an accident, but the blaze killed his mom and set his dad on a path of self-destruction. Everything else about the fateful night is full of gaping holes in his mind for good reason. Maybe it's better that way. As captain of the Ellis Hollow diving team, with straight A's and solid friends, he's only one semester away from securing a scholarship and leaving this past behind. But when a family history project gets assigned to the school, new memories come rushing to the surface and making him question everything he knows about his family. I'm really curious about this one. I don't love contemporaries, but I like mysteries and thrillers and all that stuff. I have almost picked this book up a billion times in the bookstore, so when I saw it on Book Outlet on discount, I was like, fine, you're finally going to pick it up. The Final Six by Alexandra Monier. This is another one I didn't hear about until like, I think the weekend before it came out, I saw it. It was released early on the bookshelves. When Thea and Naomi are drafted along with 22 of the world's brightest teenagers into the International Space Training Program, their lives are forever changed. Overnight, they become global celebrities in contention for 6 slots to travel to Europa, Jupiter's moon, and establish a new colony, leaving their planet forever. And things don't go according to plan. And I've heard pretty decent things about this. In general, I just heard like it's a solid, good sci-fi. There's nothing really problematic. It's got good pacing, and you know, it's a good sci-fi. I think it's supposed to be a trilogy, and I'm kind of digging the cover with like the moon as the eyes. I'm down for it. So I'm gonna give it a go soon. This I just picked up because I needed to get my Book Outlet cart over $45, but it sounds really cool. The Devil's Detective by Simon Kurt Unsworth. It's literally like what it sounds. There's a detective in hell. That's literally it. Hell is not a place of no hope, but a place where tiny amounts of hope are allowed to flourish. It's a debut. It's supposed to be genre bending, which is what really appealed to me. I am trash for those sorts of books for some reason, where you read one chapter and you're like, oh, it's a contemporary. And then you read the other chapter and you're like, wait, no, it's a historical fiction. You read something else like, oh no, we're doing fantasy. Oh, okay, no, we're doing sci-fi. Okay, like, that's why I loved Jane Unlimited so much. It's such a messed up book, and in the greatest ways. So, I got high hopes for this one. I also am finally going to finish this series. Well, keep working on it. I read The Thousandth Floor like two and a half, probably 2 years ago. I didn't hate it. It was all right. And by Catherine McGee. And the second book finally went on hardcover on Book Outlet. I think it's been there a few times, and it just keeps going out of stock, and I keep missing it. But The Dazzling Heights by Catherine McGee. All that glitters is not gold. And I remember that there is a murder at the end of The Thousandth Floor. And actually, that book's still pretty vividly in my mind after all this time. So I'm just curious to see where else it's going to go. But these elite people live high up in the towers. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to it. I also love these covers. I do really want to get the rest of this trilogy done, though, because she has a book coming out in, I want to say March, probably later than that. It's like, there's something like royal fantasy contemporary. It sounds really cool, and I'm like 99% sure there was a character named Samantha or Mercer or something like that. I was just excited for it. So I want to get this done. I picked up the hardcover copies of A Study in Charlotte, The Last of August, and A Case for Jamie. I had these first two in paperback because I wasn't sure if I was going to like the series, but then I don't like having to wait for paperbacks. I don't have that patience. So I picked these 3 up, and I've read the first 2. I'm going to get on The Case for Jamie soon, and then the 4th book comes out, and I will grab that whenever it goes up. And Sherlock Holmes retellings, and I enjoyed them. I picked up a copy of Exile by Shannon Messenger. This is the 2nd book in the Keeper of the Lost Cities series, which, if you remember, was one of my favorite books of 2018, Keeper of the Lost Cities. It is so cool and so much fun and such a good middle grade, and I love the way that these books, like, just dramatically get so much bigger. Like, book 7 came out, and I think it's, like, this big. Like, it's just Sophie Foster thought she was safe, settled in her home in Havenfield, surrounded by friends, and using her unique telepathic abilities to train Sylvanie, the first female alicorn ever seen in the Lost Cities. Her life finally seems to be coming together, but Sophie's kidnappers are still out there. And I'm just excited for this book. I'm really excited. I got high hopes. I also picked up The Tiger's Daughter by Carr S. no, oh my god, K. Arsenal Rivera, off Book Outlet as well. I've almost picked this up a few times in my bookstore. Once again, a poison spreads across an ancient land. The Hawkran Empire has conquered every land within their bold reach, using a combination of imperial might and sabotage to devastate and subjugate the nomadic Karen tribes. However, their kingdom is falling now, so things aren't going well. And I'm just really curious about this. The front cover design has got me like very, it almost makes me think of like Genghis Khan sort of situation, which it kind of also sounds like. So I'm really curious about this one. This is another book that is like literally labeled everywhere. It's like, I don't know what I just read. I can't identify what genre this book is in. I don't know how to explain it, which I'm very excited about. Ghosts of Heaven by Marcus Sedgwick. This literally is like non-stop like praise. Either people are like, I DNF'd it, I didn't get it, I didn't hate it, I just didn't get it, or they're like, I didn't get it, but like, it's amazing. And it's like written a little bit, it's sort of in verse, and I'm just really curious about this. All the reviews had me like really like, oh wow, I definitely need to pick this up. So, Ghosts of Heaven, Marcus Sedgwick. The spiral dance, the spinning top of her brother's hands, the water wheel, the carving under the water, the rope at her neck. Timeless, beautiful, and haunting spirals connect 4 episodes of these mesmerizing novels from Prince Award winner Marcus Sedgwick. Each of the characters in these mysterious linked stories embarks on a journey of discovery and survival, carried forward through the spirals of the time. None will return to the same place, which kind of sounded almost a little time travel-y to me, which I'm trash for that sci-fi stuff too. So, yay. I also picked up Julia Vanished by Catherine Egan. My friend Melanie has recommended it to me a couple times. She said she thought I would like it. It's super under radar. Witchcraft has been banned in Spyro City, but magic still rules. Julia can vanish. Imagine that. Just enough so that others can't see her, but she can see them. It's dangerous talent in a city that drowns witches, that drowned Julia's own mother. But it's a useful skill for a thief and a spy, and Julia is the best spy in the city that they have ever known. Julia's latest job seems like easy money. I don't know why I'm reading like a librarian right now, I'm sorry. She's posing as a maid in a grand house so she can spy on a group of eccentric aristocrats. But the secrets she uncovers there reveal a world more magical than even the daughter of a witch thought possible. So, don't love the cover, but it makes me curious, and it's kind of cool that there's like a curtain with the city there, which, yeah. So, I'm going to try and get to this one in the next couple months. Sounds pretty interesting, and it's not super big. I picked up my own physical copy of I'll Be Gone in the Dark by Michelle McNamara. I read the audiobook of this in January and absolutely freaking loved it. It's one of the best books I've read in a really, really long time. It's an amazing nonfiction to start my year off, too. And I also like that now I have the physical copy. There's like things that were scanned in and like pictures of some of the victims and such. So obviously with the audiobook, it's not quite there. I also think I'm definitely going to reread it as we get closer to the trial. And it's just, and also the Afterword by Patton Oswalt high-key made me cry. I love that man. But yeah, it's really good. I'd highly recommend it, so I wanted to make sure I had a physical copy. I think this is a bit more self-publishy, but at my conference there was an author there that was giving out copies of Above the Star, Alexis Marie Shute. I also found out she lives in Alberta, which is even better. But really took me was A Princess Bride Meets A Wrinkle in Time is like the comparison. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. It's a first in trilogy, and she signed it for me, which was awesome. So, yeah, there's just supposed to be like some time dimension travel, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm curious. I don't know when I'm going to give it a go, but it sounds kind of interesting. So, and the last book in this first half of the hauls, oh god, I can't imagine how long it's already. I picked up The Gown by Jennifer Robson. Actually, at my conference, she was there doing a signing, so I got a free copy, and this will open, and oh, I guess I can get rid of the sticky now if they can get this off. Thank you. And she signed it for me. So it's a lot of just it's historical fiction trash for me, right? The internationally best-selling author of Somewhere in France returns with a captivating story of friendship, betrayal, hope. London, 1946. The war ended 2 years ago, and it's all about the dress and the whole Elizabeth marrying and the World War and how the royals play into this. And I'm just really curious. I haven't read her other work, mostly just because the lines are massive at the libraries. But I love the archival photo as the top. And they're just, you know, the Crown and all them are just, everyone's curious about them right now. So I'm really curious and see if I like it. I don't know when I'll read it, but I'm excited to give it a go. So those are approximately half of the books. Yes. About half of the books that I accumulated in January, realistically in January. I'm not going to link these below because I don't have the time for that. But I have a Goodreads shelf that's under my Goodreads is linked below, called Own. So if I own it, which I own these, they'll be on there. So if you want to take a look at them, then you can go directly below, check out all my social media, and if you follow me, I will absolutely follow you back.